The crosshairs settle. You don't breathe. You don't think. You just wait for the moment between heartbeats, the half-second of stillness where everything becomes simple. One trigger pull, one outcome. You're not there yet. But you will be. Level 1, the candidate. You're lying in a mud pit at 0430 and someone is screaming at you. Not at the group. At you. You don't know what you did wrong. That's the point. You never know what you did wrong at level 1 because at level 1 everything is wrong by design. Your elbows are too high. Your breathing is wrong. Your position cost you 0.2 of a mil at 300 meters, which means at 800 it cost you everything. You volunteered for this. You remind yourself of that when the cold gets into your joints and the drill instructor calls you by a word. That isn't your name. The written test took 4 hours. You scored 94. The physical assessment nearly ended you at the grip strength evaluation. Your left hand has always been weaker. You passed by 2 points. The psychological screening asked you 12 different versions of the same question. Can you kill a human being and then go eat lunch? You said yes. They wrote something down. Basic marksmanship is not what you thought. You thought it was talent. It's math. Ballistic coefficient, velocity decay, Coriolis effect. The bullet you fire doesn't travel in a straight line. It curves, drops, drifts. The Earth moves underneath it. You have to account for a planet in motion. Your spotter, Reyes, has been doing this for 6 years. He doesn't look at you like you're a person yet. He looks at you like a variable he hasn't solved. You flinched, he says. You didn't feel it. You flinched, he says again. You shoot 400 rounds that week. By round 380, you stop flinching. That's level 1. You learn to stop flinching. Level 2, the qualifier. You pass the course, not first, not last, somewhere in the middle of a class of 11, 4 of whom washed out before week 3. You earn the tab and the new title, and you stand in a formation that feels different from every formation before it. Smaller, quieter, more deliberate. Your first posting is a training role. You're not shooting at anything that matters yet. You're shooting at paper and steel to build a record, a data file, a confirmed capability profile that will follow you for the rest of your career. You learn the gear. The rifle has a name, not a nickname, a designation. And you learn to treat it the way a surgeon treats a primary instrument. You break it down blindfolded. You know the torque spec on every fastener. You know what a cold bore shot does. To your first round, and you account for it before you ever put a round in the chamber. Reyes is still your spotter. He starts talking to you differently. Less correction, more conversation. The hardest part isn't the shot, he tells you one night. At the range, after everyone else is packed up, it's the wait. You don't understand that yet. You will. The psychological profile check happens every 6 months now. You sit across from a clinician who asks you about stress, sleep, relationships. You answer in complete sentences. You keep your voice level. You understand, without anyone saying it, that emotional legibility is currency here. Too much, and you're a liability. Too little, and you're a different kind of liability. You find the calibration. You practice it the way you practice everything else. Level 3, the operator. Your first deployment is not what the movies prepared you for. There are no dramatic angles, no slow motion. There is heat and dust and 12-hour hides in positions that destroy your hips, and most of your work is observation. You watch, you record, you call in coordinates and descriptions, and you wait for orders that sometimes never come. The first time the order comes, you're ready. You've run this in your head so many times that the reality feels like a repetition of something you've already done. The mechanics are clean. The outcome is clean. Reyes confirms. You log it. That night you eat a full meal. You notice that. You file it away. Over the next 8 months, you operate in 4 different environments: urban, mountainous, coastal, desert. Each one has its own rules, its own variables, its own version of silence. You learn them all. Your file gets thicker. Your confirmed count climbs. What nobody talks about outside the team is how much of this job is patience. Pure, corrosive patience. You can spend 72 hours in a position for a window that opens for 11 seconds. Most people cannot do that. Not because they lack courage, because they lack the particular wiring that lets you become nothing for 3 days and then become everything for 11 seconds. You have that wiring. You're beginning to understand that it's not a gift. Level 4. The specialist. They give you a new posting and a new designation. You're no longer part of the standard rotation. You're assigned to a smaller element. 8 people, no unit patch, a mission set that doesn't get briefed to the wider force. The work is the same. The targets are different, more specific, more deliberate. The rules here are unwritten, but absolute. You don't discuss operations. Not with family, not with friends, not with other service members who don't share your clearance level. You develop a second language, a social performance for the world outside the work. You become fluent in it. You have a cover story for weekends you can't account for. You stop explaining where you've been. Your relationships start to reflect this. The people who knew you before notice something has changed. They can't name it. You can't explain it. You clear 12 confirmed engagements in 14 months. The number doesn't feel like a number anymore. It feels like a measurement of something you can't fully name, competence maybe, or distance. The distance between who you were at level 1 and who you are now. Reyes rotates out. His replacement is a woman named Carver who has 12 years and a file twice the size of yours. She doesn't talk much. When she does, you listen. You're good. She tells you after your 3rd operation together. That's going to be a problem. You think she's joking. She isn't. Level 5. The asset. Good becomes known. Not publicly. Not with a name attached to a story in any publication. But in the networks that matter. The quiet administrative channels, the briefing rooms with no windows. Your file circulates. Requests come in. Specific requests. Requests that name you by designation, that specify your confirmed record, that outline parameters no standard element would be assigned. You are now a resource. The missions get longer, more isolated. You spend 3 weeks in a country you can't name in paperwork, embedded with a partner force that speaks 3 languages, none of which is English. You communicate through a handler you'll never see again. The target package on that operation carries a name you recognize from intelligence briefings 6 months prior. A planner. A specific kind of dangerous. Not a fighter. A thinker. Someone whose removal will change the architecture of something bad. You spend 9 days in position. On day 9, the window opens. You don't hesitate. You stopped hesitating, somewhere around level 3. Hesitation is the space where doubt lives, and doubt at this level is a structural failure. What you notice on the flight out is that you feel nothing about the mission and mild satisfaction about the 9-day patience. Record. You mention this to no one. The debrief takes 6 hours. They want everything, environmental, physical, psychological. You give it to them in the same level voice you've practiced since level 2. On the flight home, you sleep without dreaming. Level 6, the instructor. They pull you from rotation. Not permanently. That's what they say. They need someone with your operational record to train the next generation. 6 months. Structured curriculum, controlled environment. You're back at the same range where you once fired 400 rounds trying to stop flinching. The candidates look young. They are young. You were that young. You don't remember feeling like that. You watch them make mistakes you remember making and the flinch, the high elbows, the breathing that's wrong. And you correct them in the same flat voice Reyes once used on you. One of them asks you after a range session how many confirmed engagements you have. You look at him for a moment. Focus on your cold bore drift, you say. You become good at this too. The teaching, the observation of others. You begin to understand the architecture of capability. What makes someone develop? What makes someone plateau? What makes someone dangerous? 2 candidates wash out. One you saw coming from week 1. The other surprises you, and you don't like surprises. You review your assessment notes and find the indicators you missed. You don't miss them again. 6 months becomes 14. The missions are still there. They find you between rotations. They always find you. By the time they send you back to full operational status, you have trained 31 personnel. 9 are currently operational. 3 have confirmed records that will exceed yours. That doesn't bother you the way you expected. It's the closest thing to legacy you've considered. Level 7. The Ghost. There's no ceremony when you reach this level. No title change, no formal designation. It's more like a gravitational shift. The people around you start to behave differently. Requests come with language like specifically and no substitution and eyes only. You attend planning sessions you aren't listed on the agenda. 4. You are consulted on operations before a target package has been formalized, before the intelligence is fully confirmed, before the question has been officially asked. You are the answer they're working backward from. Your personal life, to the extent it still exists, has a particular shape. You live alone. Not because anyone required it, because the alternative required a level of emotional management that started to interfere with operational clarity. The relationships that survived, the earlier levels didn't survive the secrecy of this one. That's not a complaint. It's a variable you accounted for. You eat well. You exercise with the precision of someone who understands that the body is a platform. You sleep efficiently. You've developed a relationship with silence that most people would find unbearable. You've been doing this for 16 years. You have 94 confirmed engagements logged in a file that fewer than 20 people in the world have clearance to view. The number feels irrelevant now, not because it isn't real. Because the number is a record of outcomes, and outcomes are downstream of decisions, and the decision stopped feeling heavy a long time ago. What feels heavy now is something else. The weight of being used well. The specific fatigue of being a precision instrument in a system that never stops needing precision. Carver finds you at a training facility in a location you won't write down. She's consulting now, semi-retired. She looks at you the way she looked at you after your third operation together. Still good? She asks. Still good, you say. She nods. Neither of you says anything else. Level 8. The Silence. You're 41 years old. You don't do field operations anymore. You did the last one at 38, a 2-week package in a mountainous region, partner force integration, a target package that required your specific experience with elevation variables above 9,000 feet. Clean, confirmed, extracted. After the debrief, someone shook your hand and said that's the last one in a tone that meant it. You agreed. Now you sit in rooms where wars are planned. Not the tactical rooms, the rooms before those. The ones where the question being asked is not how but whether. You've become a kind of institution, a reference point, a standard, a benchmark against which other capability is measured. Your confirmed record is 112 engagements across 6 theaters over 19 years. The number is classified. It's also, in the only honest accounting you can give, the number of decisions you made that you would make again. That is either the healthiest thing about you or the most dangerous. You've stopped being able to tell what level 8 actually is. Quiet. You thought it would feel like something else. Power, maybe. Completion. You have access to information that shapes policy. Your recommendations affect operations that affect outcomes that ripple outward in ways you can trace across intelligence reporting for years afterward. You have done, operationally, what almost no one in the history of this profession has done. And most days you sit with a cup of coffee, and you watch the morning and you think about variables. Drift, elevation, cold bore differential. The math is still there. It always will be. The thing nobody tells you about level 8 is that the cost isn't dramatic. It isn't one moment, one mission, one decision that takes something from you. It's accumulative. It's the weight of 19 years of patience, of precision, of being a solution to problems most people don't know exist. It's the shape of a life organized entirely around capability at the expense of everything capability crowds out. You don't regret it. That, you think, might be the thing you should think most carefully about. Somewhere on a base you spent 3 weeks at in 2009, a candidate is failing his first positioning assessment. He's 22. His elbows are too high. His breathing is wrong. The instructor, one of yours trained by you, carries your methodologies in his correction language, is telling him to reset. The candidate resets. He fires again. Still wrong, but less wrong. He'll be back tomorrow. And the day after. He'll fire 400 rounds trying to stop flinching, and he won't understand yet what he's trading for the ability to stop. He thinks this is about shooting. He doesn't know what it's actually about. But in about 16 years, if the variables hold and the system takes what it takes and he gives what it asks for, he will.